On today's show, taking flight to Campobello. Come from away comes to New Brunswick, and the Algonquin's next chapter unveiled.
From your hometown local station, this is Good Day from the Bay with Vicki, Hogarth, and Jonathan Brittain.
Good Day from the Bay. I'm Jonathan Brittain.
And I'm Vicki Hogarth. Today's show has a lot of drama. Broadway stars, helicopter rides, and tea with the First Lady.
So basically, a regular week for us.
Yes, well, no one will ever accuse us of being boring.
Never. And this time, the drama involved actual turbulence, not just us clutching our pearls in the studio.
Before we get to our main guests, Tony and Courtney LePage, who are bringing Come From Away to New Brunswick, we thought we'd start with a new view of our part of the world.
We went up above Charlotte County with Ron and Shauna Fournier from Flying to Sea helicopter tours.
Yes, to see what our homes look like from the air, where the line between Canada and the U.S. blurs, and where the ocean makes everyone else look so small.
Here's that story.
Ron and Shauna Fournier run Flying to Sea helicopter tours, offering a bird's eye view of Charlotte County and beyond. From short scenic flights over St. Andrews to longer trips that cross the bay, their tours are about giving people a perspective you can't get from the ground.
We offer currently 2 tours. We offer the Campobello tour and the St. Andrews tour. As someone who moved here 3 years ago, we were not aware of how pretty Charlotte County was. We rented a helicopter a little while back, and the minute I saw what this had to offer, we decided that we were going to do the tours. The helicopter is a Bell 206 Long Ranger. It has 6 passengers and 1 pilot. It is ideally suited for tours because of its configuration with the VIP seating. It's one of my favorite helicopters, hence why we have one.
We joined them for one of the most popular trips, a flight from Giddens Memorial Airport in St. Stephen across the Passamaquoddy Bay to Campobello Island.
Leaving the runway behind, we traded the familiar for a view that makes even home feel new again.
From the air, the St. Croix River becomes less of a border and more of a thread, weaving together 2 countries with water that pays no attention to lines on a map.
The higher the helicopter climbs, the more timeless this place feels. Islands and shorelines shaped by tides, forests that seem untouched, communities holding on quietly at the edge of the sea.
Campobello has always been more than an island retreat. For Franklin Delano Roosevelt, it was a place of childhood summers where he sailed, hiked, and built some of his happiest memories.
Later, it became his family sanctuary. It was here in 1921 that FDR was struck by polio, but it was also here that he showed the resilience that would define his presidency.
Our destination was Roosevelt Campobello International Park. The only international park in the world, it was created by both Canada and the United States. It stands as a symbol of friendship between the 2 nations, a park on a Canadian island that just so happened to be the summer vacation spot of an iconic U.S. president.
First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt loved the island in her own right. We joined one of the beloved Tea with Eleanor gatherings, where guides shared stories of the First Lady's remarkable life over king cold tea and homemade cookies. Eleanor found peace on the island away from the pressures of Washington. In her own words, those of us who remember the past will have a nostalgic feeling for the days when you could spend a month or 6 weeks virtually cut off from the world and its troubles, enjoying to the full the beloved island.
But Eleanor didn't just seek peace on Campobello. She carried what she found on the island into the world. After FDR's death, she became a tireless advocate for justice and equality.
A lot of people know her name and knew about her, but didn't really know the extent of it all, and they're really surprised at how much she cared about people.
At the United Nations, she chaired the commission that drafted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Her voice shaped a document that set the global standard for dignity and freedom.
That was one of her greatest accomplishments, and she said that this is a living document and it will need to be updated from time to time. That was passed in 1948 and we're in 2025 and it hasn't happened yet. So that was just a few of the things that she did. She just always was fighting for the underdog.
Yet for all her international stature, she never stopped being that neighbor on Campobello. Islanders remember her walking the beaches, chatting with locals, and pouring tea as if she had all the time in the world.
She had a lot of friends here, all of the local ladies. They met each other as young girls, young wives, mothers, grandmothers, even great-grandmothers, and they experienced all of the highs and lows of life together.
From the air, you see why the Roosevelts always returned. Campobello is timeless, a place that suspends you between countries, between land and sea, and between the past and the present.
Islands have a way of setting you apart from the world. From above, you see why Eleanor called this one beloved, and why, even now, it feels like stepping into another time and into a story that stretches far beyond its shores.
As she once said that surely in the light of history it is far more intelligent to hope rather than to fear, to try than not to try, for one thing we know beyond all doubt, nothing can be achieved by the person who says it can't be done. Eleanor Roosevelt.
What an experience. There's something about seeing this part of the world from the air that makes you realize just how connected everything is. Land, water, communities.
Exactly. And Campobello has that timeless quality. It feels like you've stepped away from the mainland and into a space that's both peaceful and also full of fascinating stories and history.
Definitely one for the memory books.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we sit down with Tony and Courtney LePage to talk about bringing Come From Away to New Brunswick. Stay with us. Welcome back to A Good Day from the Bay. Our main guests today are Tony and Courtney LePage, a couple who've made their mark on Broadway and are now bringing that talent home.
Both Tony and Courtney built their careers in New York, performing on some of the biggest stages. Tony was even part of the original cast of Come From Away, the hit musical that tells the story of Gander, Newfoundland, and the thousands of passengers welcomed there on 9/11.
Since moving back to Tony's home province of New Brunswick, they've launched Rogue Productions, staging Broadway by the Sea at CHCO Amphitheatre and productions like Rock of Ages in Fredericton.
But this summer marks their most ambitious project here yet, bringing Come From Away itself to New Brunswick.
They opened the show in St. Andrews at the CHCO Amphitheatre with the real mayor of Gander from 9/11, Claude Elliott, in the audience for opening weekend before heading to St. John's Imperial Theatre.
We sat down with Tony and Courtney at the CHCO Artist Residence to talk about what this moment means to them and what it's like to bring Broadway home.
Here's our conversation. It's a pleasure to sit down with you again, Tony and Courtney, and what a beautiful performance that we saw here at CHCO Amphitheatre.
Thanks.
Tony, I'd love to hear first where your journey with Come From Away began and how it brought you here.
Yeah. So I started with the show, I believe it was 2017, I think. It was a casting call in New York, and they were looking for understudies. The cast that was on Broadway had been doing workshops for a couple of years, and they were looking for understudies, and so I auditioned and ended up getting in, and I went to Toronto. We did what's called an out-of-town tryout, which is just before they go to Broadway. Did that in Toronto for about 2 months, and then we moved over to New York. And then I did that show for COVID for a while, and then COVID, and then about a year after when we were shut down for a year and a half, and then we came back for a year, and then and that was it. And then Courtney and I, when we first saw the amphitheater here, we've talked to you about Broadway by the Sea and how we saw the amphitheater and let's bring Broadway people here. I think that was our first thought. I think our second thought was we need to do Come From Away here someday. And that day is now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting.
And you both relocated to your home province of New Brunswick in the time of COVID.
Yes.
What was that like?
Over to you.
Wild, yeah. Well, because we were living in New York at the time, obviously, and everything shut down. So we first spent time in Florida, where I'm from, with my family for a couple months. And then when they opened the border, I think, to citizens to come home, we were able to come here. So we spent, I think, 6 months in 2020 with Tony's family.
Yep.
And I absolutely fell in love with the Maritimes. And we, got to spend a lot of time here. And so we decided, I think then, I don't think we knew in that moment we were going to move here permanently, but it was like someday we'll move back or move there.
Yeah.
But then we went back to New York to do the show again.
Yeah.
And in 2021 we said, we're moving. We're going next year. So we officially moved here in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2025.
3 years later. Yeah.
Crazy. Now we've done, how many shows have we done? What we talk about?
I think we said 7 different shows here. Is that correct?
We did our 4th Broadway by the Sea this year. And then we did the Air Supply musical, and we did our Canucks on Broadway show, and now we're doing this one. So it's 7 shows at the amphitheater in those 3 years. It's been a wild ride. It's been amazing. Yeah.
And it's just incredible because, I mean, not only is it come from away, I mean, one of the biggest musicals in recent times at the Kira Amphitheater, but with all New Brunswick cast, all New Brunswick musicians, but also I'm so interested, it's a collaboration between Kira, yourselves, and the St. John Theatre Company. Yep. I mean, that's a huge undertaking. But I'm curious to, like, when were you really going into it, even though you've done other shows and you've auditioned New Brunswick people, were you concerned going into this one, will we be able to do it? Like, will we find the talent?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a tough show to cast. Everyone plays multiple characters, and there's multiple accents and physical requirements when it comes to moving set pieces. And so, definitely, I think it's a very ambitious undertaking for a show. I think it seems simple in a way because
so
it's actors
tricky.
and chairs, right? It's like, oh, it's easy.
They're out there and they're singing songs and do this and grab a chair and put it over here. But when there's
we made jokes. We should call it tables and chairs.
Tables and chairs. Yeah, that's right.
So when we collaborated with St. John Theatre Company in Kingsbury, obviously, it was a big conversation about the casting of it and how do we do this and where do we find these actors. And so we actually did a tour of the province. We went to Moncton, St. John, and Fredericton, and we had auditions that way. We also accepted self-tapes. So I think we saw probably 140 actors total for 15 roles.
Yep.
Wow.
And we did the really neat thing is we didn't have to go out of province. We found them. We found everybody right here. So that was really thrilling.
Which really is, that honestly, for Rogue Productions, which is our company for anybody who doesn't know, that's really is our mandate, is to give local people from New Brunswick the opportunity to do big shows here. You know, not everyone can go to a Toronto or, you know, to New York or London or wherever it is to try to pursue this. People love being home, just like we love being here. And so that's what we want to do, is to just sort of create big opportunities for people right here. And so that's why we're just so glad that we, like I said, if we had to go out of town, we would have, but we didn't, because New Brunswick is absolutely chock full of incredible artists from the top down. It was the band, the cast, the creative team, the set designers, everyone is New Brunswick.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. Like, that's what I was watching, because I even know some people who were in the cast. Yeah. And I was just so excited for them to have this opportunity to be there watching it. It was just incredible and wonderful. And I have to say, Courtney, your direction was spot on, because I know the show looks so simple and easy, and it was seamless, and I know that's not easy to do. I know that's
that.
So I was watching everything, and I was like, oh, this lady knows what she's doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a beast for sure. And we always joke our scripts, and Sydney Hallett, our choreographer as well. The three of us would get together in our living room, and we had to work backwards a lot of the time because it moves so quickly, the show, and you move from place to place so quickly that we'd have to start like on scene 5 to work backwards to figure out where we start 1, right? Because we knew we had to end
Start
up.
in the Tim Hortons, end up in the town hall.
Yeah.
What
How
happens
do we
in
get
between?
there,
Yeah.
and who moves that chair? So thank you for acknowledging that. It was a lot of moving pieces. But again, I think it was such a joy to create, though, and come up with, like, how do we do it, and how do we create this space and time using chairs and people, and that's it. And how do we go from a Tim Hortons to an airport to a school to a bus in a matter of seconds, right? And so that was an interesting challenge and a really fun one, actually.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
How challenging was the direction for many of the performers playing multiple characters, but also switching accents from a Newfoundland accent to a Texan accent sometimes?
Yeah, so we used any resources we could find. The internet's an amazing place for that. But Tony was kind of our dialect coach, I guess I would say, because you did it for so long. So definitely the Newfoundland accent. Southern, I am actually from the South, so I could help with that one. But we have some other cast members that offered their knowledge too. For example, Lucas speaks Spanish, so Lucas was helping with the Mr. Michael's pronunciation. Propti helped with some of the Hindu hand movements for the prayer section. So some really beautiful collaborations happening within our cast too, when it came to the different cultures and dialects and things. Yeah.
Take us back to opening night here at Kira. I was fortunate enough to be there on the Friday night opening. What were your nerves like behind the scenes? Did it feel different from the times you've done it on Broadway? Also knowing that Claude Elliott, the former mayor of Gander, was also in the audience.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, as far as the Claude element goes, it was interesting. So Jeff McAloon, who plays Claude in the show, he knew he was there, and he said to me, he goes, hey, I don't want to be rude, but I think I need to meet him after. I was like, no, I get it, man, 100%. Like, this is so anyway. So I went up before the show and I talked to Claude, and that guy is just an absolute gem of a human. And so to have him there, I think just augmented everyone, honestly. I think everybody just felt honored to be able to present it for him, and we were excited to have him there, and he was just so complimentary afterwards. He just said how much heart there was. I think a lot of people have been saying there's a lot of heart in Come From Away, but being from the East Coast and having everybody be from here, I think makes a big difference. And he was so impressed with the talent and the passion that everybody brought to it, which is great. As far as the getting ready for the show, I think the biggest thing is we were trying it outdoors. You know, there's a lot of incredible things that come with that, where people can be sitting there, there's this beautiful breeze and the sun was out and you're looking around, the trees are beautiful, and then the show starts and it's surrounded by trees, and then you just kind of go, wind. Microphones. So it was just our sound guy, Sean, man, he had a job on his hands, and he absolutely nailed it. It is an incredibly difficult show to do with so many people coming back and forth, and then you take the elements into consideration. So I would say we were all ready. We had been rehearsing.
Yeah, I think our show was ready.
Absolutely,
I was never nervous about the cast or the band or any of that. I think the only thing to be nervous about, I think it's natural to get excited energy when you're opening something. But yeah, you never know. Yeah. It's like, is it going to be windy? Is it gonna, But we got lucky. The weather was amazing all weekend.
It was incredible, And the other thing, we've always said that in New York too, is that the audience really is, because there's direct address, we break the fourth wall and we talk directly to people. They really are the extra cast member. And so we were all feeling like we needed to have an audience. You know, you could say say a joke so many times to no one like this, and just kind of go, I think I'm funny. You know, I think that line's funny, and it is. You know what I mean? But and then you get the reactions to the really emotional parts too, and you have to feel it with the audience, and they can help give you a gauge as to how the role of the show goes, which is so. It was an electric night, that's for sure. Opening night was amazing.
Absolutely, and of course, every night is going to be slightly different. I mean, it's always the anticipation: is this joke going to hit as hard as it did last night? You know, right. There's all of those elements at play. And so now you're going from this outdoor venue, moving it to St. John in September. Yeah. So how are you anticipating that transition, and how are you preparing for that?
I'm thrilled we did it here first, because I think anything that might have been a challenge, like elements or question marks being outside, we got through that. Now moving indoors, there's a lot more control you have when you're inside an actual theater space indoors. So in that sense, it'll be fun to come up with a different lighting design, and just playing with the new design elements that we're going to be able to have in that space. I think it'll be not a challenge, but it'll be different because it'll feel much smaller, I think, for the cast, because this stage is so expansive and big, and we've had to kind of spread out our show and open it up for the amphitheater. And so now we get to kind of bring it back into that intimate, almost like when we were rehearsing it. So that's going to be an interesting change for the cast, I think.
For sure.
And you're not going to see the audience as much, whereas here you see everybody. That's what the cast was saying,
right? Like holy, I'm seeing everybody's face instead of that first 3 rows.
So it'll definitely be different, but I think equally as exciting and fun to be in a beautiful historic theater like the Imperial.
The Imperial's amazing. So
very
nice.
excited.
Yeah.
We were lucky to get to meet Claude Elliott on the weekend that we went on opening weekend, but you have Kevin, a character you played for a long time, Tony, coming. Can you tell us a little bit about what your relationship has been with Kevin over the years, how he may have influenced how you portray him on stage, and what your feelings are now knowing he's coming to see this version?
I know, I'm so excited. It'd be great to see him again, and we've done multiple events together. We've done a couple of things, in New York, and where we do, would sing the channel of your piece, or we go and we do the prayer number, and Kevin will be there, and he has a Pay It Forward foundation. So at the end of the show, my character's, spoiler alert, but at the end of the show, he talks about how he gives his employees the money to go out and do acts of kindness for strangers. And it's that kind of the way that he wanted to remember what it was to have this Pay It Forward campaign. You can look it up, Pay It Forward with Kevin. And we're actually going to do a day of kindness here in St. Andrews. So we're gonna do that. I think Saturday. I think that Saturday is the day. So we're gonna go with Kevin around and just do nice things for people and pay it forward, and that's the idea, that people would then. So he's just a great guy, just a really, really, really nice guy who I absolutely love that people take sort of an extraordinary experience and they carry it through. And he is someone who's a really good example of someone who took in the events of those 5 days and felt the kindness of the Newfoundlanders and is absolutely paying that forward, which is a pretty amazing thing.
What's the feedback you generally get from audiences? Why do you think this musical still resonates so much with people almost a quarter century after 9/11?
Yeah, it's about being a good person when you really get down to the heart of it. And I think that one thing that I've always found, certainly here, is that I think that a lot of East Coast Canadians go that it's like I would do that. You know what I mean? I think that we do have that in us, and every once in a while it's nice to be reminded. It's nice to be reminded that we live in an incredible part of the world. East Coast Canada is this amazing place that, I don't know, I get emotional about it because I'm just, I'm super proud to be from here. And I'm super happy that we've come back and that we're able to bring, some of this kind of stuff back home. And so that's what I think it does for a lot of people here.
I think it also gives hope. It reminds us to be kind and to have hope for humanity. I think Claude was saying it too. We talked a lot about it this weekend. You turn on the news right now and it's,
yeah.
We all know what it is right now, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice reminder that we at our core can be very good, to Tony's point, like we are as human beings. And I think we all crave community and friendship and, collaboration in different ways. And so I think this show it reminds us of that in a time that it might be hard to find reminders.
I was taken to, listening to certain people in the, south of the border who say things like 51st state and blah, 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 blah.
Yes,
It's so demeaning. But I was like, no, that's absolutely not who we are. And so it was very reassuring and very, very hopeful.
Yeah.
And
but just a reminder, you can come from all these different places and have different cultures and different points of views and speak different languages. And yet at the end of the day, everyone wants a warm meal and someone to talk to,
Yeah.
So.
And just start to be just collaboration on so many levels. The collaboration that happened there during that time, the collaboration that's happening here, the opportunity that you're giving to New Brunswick artists. I mean, it's just all so beautiful and so uplifting.
Thank you.
So that meant a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. It means a lot to us,
we
too.
feel lucky to have these artists saying yes, and taking a risk and saying, sure, I'll jump into this huge show and put myself out there on an amphitheater stage. It's these people have other jobs. They're teachers or they work at the post office or they're not full-time actors. So the fact that they're as good as they are and as committed and dedicated as they are, it's just been incredible to work with this cast and this company.
I have to ask because Tony came from New Brunswick, went to Broadway. Courtney, you're from Florida, went to New York for Broadway too, and then you've come home, Tony, to bring Come From Away here. What does it mean to you to take this moment that you thought would be a Broadway career and then reroute it here in New Brunswick?
Yeah, it's a dream come true, honestly. It really is. I didn't, you never know, if you chart the journey of anyone, there's always this, ooh, what's that thing? And then all of a sudden, so for me, it's been all over, quite literally all over the map. I've performed in Hong Kong and Singapore and Australia and New Zealand and all over the world. And same as Court's performed all over the place too. And so, but my favorite place to perform is here. I love when, friends and family and, and people from around are getting to experience it. There's nobody I want to sing for more. I've sung in Times Square on New Year's Eve for 1 million people, but there's nowhere else I'd rather be than here. So for me, I just feel grateful. I just feel super grateful that you wanted to come back. that was a big one. I remember saying to her, I said, don't just like it because it's my hometown. I said, you don't have to sell me on it like this, but make sure that you really love it, and you really do.
Yeah.
And so look, we can always go to New York. We can always go to go see shows and go visit friends in New York, but it's just been amazing to think that we can do it here.
I think we also I think we thought we could do something like this. We thought, it would be neat.
Yep.
I don't think we could, if we 5 years ago had a crystal ball and I saw it this weekend 5 years ago, I'm like, what are you talking about? No way we're doing that show with that many amazing people on that stage. There's no way.
Yeah. First of all, 5 years ago, there's an amphitheater?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 5 years ago, we didn't know.
We didn't even know. We got introduced to it.
So I think for me, coming from my trajectory, my career, this was never even, I didn't know it was here. It wasn't on my radar at all. And so now that I know it's here, I am so grateful that we've been given the opportunity to try and to try this thing that we've been doing the last couple of years. And as long as people keep coming, we're going to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to keep.
Well, I was about to say, you're seeing those two beautiful words that every theater artist loves to see: sold out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, St. John sold out really quick, and we just have a little bit more capacity here, but we are now officially sold out completely. The
Again,
whole run.
both weekends, and it's something that's never happened here at the amphitheater. This many shows, they'll be close to. It was funny, we were talking to Daniel, and he was saying it would have been amazing if we had have gotten the same amount of audience members as the people who landed in Gander, but we're close.
We're close.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Certainly.
About 3,000 the first weekend, so it'll be
almost
just
3,000
over
the second
6,000
weekend.
total.
Yep, it's pretty.
If there was a way, Courtney, that we could screech you in, I don't know what we do in New Brunswick. You have earned your honorary local status.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, we'll go whale watching and have some ice cream.
There you go.
And that's similar,
That's
right?
perfect.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I was at work the other day, and I was actually putting bottles of Screech on the shelf, and I started to hear the music, and I welled up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing too on that, we have an incredible support system with donors and supporters as well. They've just been so generous and so supportive of the kind of stuff that we're doing, and of Kira and Kingsbury, and so it's again we got introduced to this place by Tony and Lori Mays, who are just absolute gems of humans, and they introduced us to this place, and they've been huge supporters of ours, and so to be able to have that kind of, not only the support of the actors and the performers and the technicians, crew and musicians that show up to do them, but to have the support of a community, it feels very much like just a big old hug from my home province saying, hey, thanks for coming back, and we're glad you're here. So that's how it feels for me. Yeah.
This musical really is, it's a love letter to Canada.
Yep.
In so many ways, it's a love letter to Broadway as well.
Yep.
You will be at the Imperial Theatre for September 11th.
Yep.
What will that be like, doing that play or this musical on that date in St. John?
That's going to be an interesting day, and I think that it's the writers have always said, writers and the producers have always said that this is a 9/12 story. It's not a 9/11 story. It's what happened after type of thing. It's what happened, and while we do reference it, you know what I mean. I think it's out of reverence for it. But I think what everyone feels every time they watch Come From Away is a catharsis to know that when the worst thing happened, the best thing happened also at the same time. And I think that's kind of, when you think about what's, like we talked about earlier about what's going on with the world right now, it's just sort of like, it's not everyone. It's not everyone. Social media is an interesting thing where it makes it feel like the sky is falling. Like it makes it feel like everybody, U.S. against Canada. I promise you, it is not that. We have so many dear friends in the U.S. that are just sort of going, I'm so sorry. They're just like, and if you really get down to it, it's a small amount of people that are just doing things really loudly. And so if we all just kind of just shut the noise out and listen to each other a little bit more, I think that, and I think that that's what Come From Away does. I think that when people come and see the show on a day like 9/11, have the reverence for, Claude says at the end of the show, we honor what was lost, but we also commemorate what we found. And so that to me is what it's going to be for people on September 11th, yeah.
What does it mean to provide this opportunity? I think of someone like Ian Curran, who was in Broadway by the Sea with you, former CHCO summer
He's in
student.
Rock of Ages too. Yeah.
But you're giving this opportunity that people think they have to leave New Brunswick for, and now they can do those dreams right where they're from. How have you seen it change people's lives already? Someone of Ian's age, let's say.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's been incredible, specifically with Broadway by the Sea, is we've started doing the masterclass series as well, and so we've seen in the last 3 years, some people that were in the original Broadway by the Sea are now in Come From Away. It's like they've grown up into that, and now some of our original class, some of the students kind of worked their way up, and they were in the ensemble this year, Broadway by the Sea. So we're starting to see the growth in these young artists. We're starting to see the fact that they're sticking around and continuing to pursue the thing that they want to pursue, but they don't necessarily have to leave to do it. and they're just getting so good. Like that's the other
So
thing
good.
too. Like I'm every time they walk in a room, and we have auditions. We always audition for these things, and they just show up and they're so prepared and ready. And we've just noticed the ones that we've worked with now multiple times, like in Ian or Caitlin Goodwin has done a bunch of our shows.
Yep.
They
we
just-
can get her nickname Broadway.
Yeah, but they come in the room
So
with
good.
the professionalism that I don't know I would have expected 5 years ago. I don't know that I would have. And they show up prepared and ready, and the expectation is there and they know it, so they deliver. And so that's been really, really cool to see, the growth for these young people. And we're just excited to keep going and keep training and mentoring to the best of our ability and giving these opportunities, because it's also fun for us,
Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
From the outside looking in, it feels like there's this organized master plan, but is a lot of this just happening organically? Were you planning all this growth, or is some of it just sort of surprising you as well?
Oh, a good question.
Yeah, combination.
I think both. I think there's ideas and dreams, but then the actual execution is always organic. It's like, okay, so then how do we do it this time? Okay, maybe we can just zhuzh this next time. The cast makes fun of me. Apparently I say zhuzh a lot.
Zhuzh is a
We're
big
going
one.
to zhuzh it, but it makes sense, right? So you have a plan,
Yeah.
and then, that's,
just
okay,
zhuzh it.
I'm just going to zhuzh it now. So there's been a lot of zhuzhing the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's what collaborating and creating is all about, is the zhuzhing. Really.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
It's teams. We've
right.
discovered it's always about the team.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Our stage manager Bia is just amazing. She's been so great, and she does so many things behind the scenes for us. And then, like I said, the tech team that we have for this,
Yeah.
Mike Doherty, our music director, just handles the music, handles it every time.
I have to say, I did want to give a shout out to him
Yeah.
because the voices, and the musicians, it was beautiful,
Yeah.
like top notch. I
Yeah.
was so
really,
impressed.
really,
Yeah.
really tough. They were talking about, there's a term in music called a vamp, where basically music
Yep.
just repeats and repeats and repeats until a line gets said, and then they come out of a vamp and they go into the next one. They were talking about how this show is should be called Vamp the Musical.
That's what they call it, yeah. Musicians call it Vamp the
Vamp the
Musical. I call
Musical.
it Tables and Chairs the Musical.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
So-
but again, none of this is easy.
No.
No,
Yeah.
not
It's all timed. It's listening to each other, and the band has to listen to Mike, who has to listen to the actors to cue the band. It's all communication in a way that maybe you don't even think about as an audience member to get that flow that you were talking about, that pace and that
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But they've just done such a great job, and I'm just excited to do it again this weekend.
I know, it's going to be great.
Well, we can't thank you enough for really how you've changed the art scene in New Brunswick. It
Thanks.
has made a difference for even people like me who are just a spectator. I don't have to leave New Brunswick to go see a fabulous Broadway play, which means I really need to know what is next for you.
What is next?
Well, first up, go ahead.
The very next one?
Yeah, well, we're rehearsing
Yes.
it right now.
How do you do? We are doing the Rocky Horror Show at the Fredericton Playhouse on Halloween weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will be playing Frankenfurter. I'll be going from Kevin T to Frankenfurter. I'm calling myself Kevin Furter at right now. But so we actually drove back to Fredericton on Monday for rehearsal and drove back.
Yeah.
So we had rehearsal for that. They're rehearsing in Fredericton, and when we wrap this up, we continue with that. So we just announced the cast today online, and it's just.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a blast.
And we're make plans for next year. Not announced
Yes.
yet, but there are plans in the works.
Yeah.
Because next year's our 5th year here. It'll
It's
be our
amazing.
5th summer.
Our 5th probably by the sea.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Next summer.
Yeah.
Well-
Yes, of course we want Broadway by the Sea again, but then hopefully there'll be even more, something like this. Like this, I really, I can't encourage you enough to just keep going and
you.
just keep at it, because it's, again, to me, it all comes back to what you're bringing to so many people, to the audience, to these performers, to these art. It's incredible, and we're so lucky and so
You're
grateful.
not allowed to leave.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
We have
No plans to.
no desire to leave. No, we love it here. We love St. Andrews. Holy smokes, what a place!
It's the best.
It's just amazing. I wasn't like a go to St. Andrews kid when I was younger. We always went. My grandparents lived in Bathurst, so we kind of went the opposite way. But since we've come down here, we just have we've fallen completely in love with St. Andrews. This place is there's just a magic here, just amazing. Just walking down on Water Street and how people are super friendly, and they're just right by the water. It's just amazing. So we are not going anywhere. That's for sure.
I would say on behalf of all New Brunswickers, Tony, thank you for coming home. Courtney, thank you for coming from away. And thank you both for bringing Come From Away to all of us. It is so special.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
bravo again. Really impressed.
Thanks so much.
Incredible story and such a milestone for musical theater in this province.
And you didn't even try to slip in an audition for their next Broadway show during the interview. Such impressive self-control, Jonathan.
My whole life's an audition. Call me Tony and Courtney, call me.
We're going to take a quick break, but stay with us. When we come back, it's time for milestones and celebrations featuring the Algonquin Resort. Stay with us. Welcome back to Good Day from the Bay. For generations, the Algonquin Resort has been the castle on the hill here in St. Andrews, a former Canadian Pacific hotel that still feels enchanting with old world sensibilities and new world comforts.
And recently, the resort welcomed its new general manager, Cole Sheridan.
Yes, he gave Good Day from the Bay a tour of the changes from refreshed rooms to a brand new menu. Check it out. I'm now with Cole Sheridan, the new general manager for the Algonquin Resort. Cole, tell us a little bit about what was your impression when you first arrived in St. Andrews and saw not only the town but this magnificent building?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been privileged. I worked at a lot of Canada's sort of most storied hotels. Was with Fairmont for 8 or 9 years throughout Canada and the United States. And I think this asset has such a connection with the local community. You can really feel it. And the first impression I had when we arrived, my wife and I, my daughter, was just the warmth of the community. You can really tell there's a true partnership here and something we want to continue to not only maintain but expand. But that was, as a small town boy, I was very happy to have that sort of warmth of that small community again. And everybody's just been fantastic. It doesn't hurt as well that it's such a dog-friendly community. We're a big dog family, so we're just thrilled to be here.
Tell us a little bit about what it means to be a part of a resort like this that's important to both visitors, but it also has a storied history with the locals too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really see this role, and Invest sees this hotel period as a very important stewardship opportunity. I think when you look at assets like this and their connection, we're really not just operating a hotel as you might, sort of any kind of city hotel, but, how do you really bring to life this story? How do you bring to life all the experiences that, our alumni associates have had? There's just so many connections here, so many families started here, frankly, and it's just so special. So how do we continue to tell that story as we move into the future and we start to kind of embark on this once-in-a-generation investment that we're making in the asset? And that's what really is exciting everybody, I think, right now.
Well, I'm excited to be here with you today to get a tour. Let's take a look what you have in store.
Let's do it. So a very warm welcome to the Algonquin Resort. I know you've been here many times, and thank you for that. Here we have some storyboards really about sort of our grand past. I think everybody here knows that we're a very storied resort. Talks about the arrival of Princess Diana, some sort of key moments in our history, and then outlines sort of the direction we're going with the reimagination.
Well, I'm very excited that we're here in person today so we get to see it in real life.
Yes.
I'd love to explore the rooms.
Absolutely, it'd be my pleasure. Let's go take a look at one of our patio suites. This suite is not necessarily the largest suite in the building, but when we talk about, visitors like Princess Diana, when we talk about visitors like prime ministers, almost every president of the United States, oftentimes this is where we'll put them just because the view is so iconic. These beautiful patios. I know you'd mentioned before that you've been to a number of weddings on our rooftop patio terrace, and a very similar vibe. You can really sort of feel as we say, you feel the healing waters of the Passamaquoddy.
It's definitely like stepping into a painting, so I've taken many photos
That's
up on
right.
the garden patio balcony.
After you. So as soon as you walk in, I think you can feel the very, airy yet warm environment that we've created here. So we were extraordinarily fortunate. We were able to engage a Canadian design firm called McKay Wong. And they're led by who I think is one of the top designers in the country. I love the work he does, Gordon McKay. And he actually had some ties to St. Andrews. So he grew up sort of in love with and always wanting to stay at the Castle on the Hill. So you can almost feel the love in these rooms, frankly. Every design piece is very intentional, and it's really meant to feel like sort of a grand coastal retreat. And that's really the direction we're going overall with the property, not just with the guest rooms, but even when you look at the make of some of this custom design furniture, it's very substantial. Just like the history of the hotel, we wanted to make sure that every piece in these rooms kind of reflects who we are, and frankly reflects St. Andrews and the sort of cooling and crisp waters of the Passamaquoddy Bay. Making sure that as you can hear outside, you can hear the birds here, which I always love personally. But they just did an exceptional job, and we couldn't be more proud of our new guest rooms.
I'm never surprised, but always delighted to hear how many people have a connection to St. Andrews by the Sea.
Absolutely, similarly, I couldn't believe when I was starting to tell people I was moving here, how many people were from here, had homes here, had cottages here. So sort of that one more step in it really feeling like home to us as we made the relocation. So as we come into the bedroom here, so even the way that they've designed sort of these heritage oak floors, sort of very traditional oak floors. You can even tell just in the way that we've designed it, it's very residential. Some of the lamps being, lamps you'd have at home. We want people to feel at home. That's really what we sort of try and deliver here. Really unmistakably, undeniably coastal, right? I think the team did such a good job of really bringing to life exactly what we were hoping they would, which is this, really warm and grand residential feel.
Mm-hmm. You can't get more coastal than the view you have as
That's
well,
right.
which is really
That's right. You can almost taste the salt water. So let's take a walk into our very sort of spa-like washrooms here. Lots of marble, really a great shower amenity program. It's actually a female Indigenous-owned company out of Burlington that we've been thrilled to start working with. Of course, a local fan favorite, Katie's Cove, and its sort of prime, probably July or August shot there. And then, finally, my favorite, especially in the middle of winter, being from Northern Ontario, maybe I'm a little used to it, but a heated floor, which, in the middle of winter, you can sort of, as you say, look at Katie's Cove here and dream of warmer days.
Dream of warmer days. But yeah, winter here is underrated, I think.
That's right, I think so. So join me out on the veranda here. We'll sit down, we'll take a quick look at our afternoon tea as well as our new social hour that we have. And we're joined by Kim, who may be familiar to many of our viewers and has been really honestly instrumental in helping us get this program to the quality that the Algonquin deserves.
A very familiar face in our community, Kim. Excited to see you. Tell
Thank
us a
you.
little bit about what we're about to experience.
Well, we started having afternoon teas. We've extended the hours now, starting Monday. It'll be from 12 till 4. Reservations are recommended but not required. And also one of the things we're featuring is we've switched all of our teas to Garden by the Sea. Elaine's teas, she's been up and did a tea tasting with our staff, and we've tried to make them as New Brunswick and as high tea importance as well, because we have, of course, our 2 chicken bone teas, and we've got a Queen Mary tea, which is kind of the traditional, afternoon tea as well.
You're a familiar face in St. Andrews. That goes without saying. Why was it so important for you to integrate those local brands, local businesses into what's going on up here?
Well, when I first arrived and met Cole for the first time, he was very instrumental. He said, I want New Brunswick on the menus as much as we possibly can. And the first thing we looked at was the tea program. I'm like, why are our teas from somewhere else when we have a tea company right here in St. Andrews? And I called Elaine right away, and we've got the tea started. So I think that we're an iconic New Brunswick resort, and we need to celebrate New Brunswick products here at the resort as well.
I think you could probably do a poll in town, ask anyone, and everyone would say you've done the right choice with Kim. What was it about her that drew you to working with Kim Guerin?
Well, Kim actually won Leader of the Quarter, Leader of the Month last month, and it's pretty simple. She treats people right. She puts a clear vision around what success looks like, and makes sure her team has the tools and resources. And that's something else we don't necessarily talk a lot about in this type of format, but how we take care of our associates, how we develop people looking to grow in this industry is something near and dear to the entire executive team's heart here, and something I think we're beginning to really make some inroads on.
We've talked about the next chapters of the Algonquin. Afternoon tea really is a throwback to a bygone era. Why is this something that you thought would be important to bring into the next chapter?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we look at sort of where we're going, we're developing sort of some key rituals, and afternoon tea is going to be one of them. And I look forward to sharing what some more of them are going to be soon. But afternoon tea is just so iconic, right? Sitting out here with family. We're one of few resorts in Canada that still has a full pastry team. So we operate a full pastry kitchen, and Chef Indra actually leads, some of the great items that are on here. This is all homemade. This is all comes from our own kitchens. So just the way that we're able to bring this to life and really connect people to that experience they would have had back in maybe 1920, 1930. This 130-plus-year-old hotel. It just feels like something very tangible to connect us to our history.
Mm-hmm. You talked about partnerships with local businesses, bringing them into the mix here, but also this is a ritual that a lot of locals, maybe you're not staying at the hotel, but this is a great way to be a part of what's happening up here. Was that part of the idea behind it, is that it appeals to not just people that are visiting St. Andrews?
But yes, an activity that all the guests and maybe locals could come up and experience, to be part of the Algonquin and remember the days gone by.
I look forward to finding out what else you have in store. Should we check out Braxton?
Yeah, let's go back to the Braxton Sunset Patio. So Vicki, here we are, another one of St. Andrews by the Sea's best kept secrets, which is the Braxton's Sunset Patio. We don't have sunset just yet, so some beautiful shade back here at the moment, but as lunch comes, it starts to get really beautiful back here, and being south facing, we have just exceptional sort of what you'd call golden hour moments back here. And this is our new executive chef, Prasanna.
Hello.
So nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here with the new menu.
So I'm Prasanna. I have joined here in September. Previously, I worked in Dubai for 20 years. I worked in some good, well-known local brands back there. And previously, I was working in JW Marriott in Muskoka. So I'm here in St. Andrews since September. I'm loving this place. The neighborhood is amazing, and the climate is, I'm loving it. And here we try to bring all this local produce in our new menu. So as you can see, we have a charcuterie board with all our locally sourced cold cuts and cheese, and we have a homemade duck relay as well. And we are into opening a partnership with some local producers as well. And that's what we are focusing on at this moment, yeah.
What we have here that Muskoka doesn't is the ocean. So how does the sea inspire what you're doing?
That's what our main focus is. We're trying to go maritime and more of lobsters and oysters and seafood in the menu, and that's our main focus at this point, yeah.
Okay, and we're sitting here on what you said is a hidden gem of the Algonquin. Tell us a little bit about the experience right in front of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big things we're focused on right now is our beverage programs, whether that's cocktails, beers, wine. Personally, I'm a cocktail guy, and when I think of the Algonquin, back 1920s, you're coming maybe off the railway from Boston or Montreal. What comes to mind? To me, it's a beautiful martini. So here we have what, in my opinion, is our signature martini, and that's going to come with a Beausoleil oyster as well, talking about sort of maritimes, really reflecting sort of the new menu that we've launched as well, both here in Braxton's as well as the pub, Rightwell Pub. And this comes with a great mignonette made with the same white vermouth that goes into the martini, so sort of pulling it all together. So I would love if everybody stopped by, come experience it, come experience Chef Prasanna's new menus. I think those who've been coming to the Algonquin for some time will be delighted. Really sort of coming back to who we are, both in the restaurants. Rightwell Pub is leaning a little more into very sort of elevated pub food, and then Braxton's, of course, going sort of looking backwards to move forwards a little bit, making sure that we have great steaks, we have great seafood, and we're really telling the story of everybody around here who works so hard to bring this beautiful food to our table.
I feel like this has to be a version. In Newfoundland, they have the screeching in, but I feel like the oysters pair with the martini. You've got to make that some signature rite of passage for
Absolutely,
people that visit.
I agree 100%.
Well, I do want to congratulate you on what is the beginning of a new chapter, but also thank you for bringing the history into what you're doing in the future. It means a lot to those of us who've cherished this place for our entire lives to see what was beautiful of the past come into the future.
That's great. Well, we're so proud to be the stewards of this great hotel. And if you'll join me, I'd love to cheers to both the Algonquin and to St. Andrews by the Sea, to the next chapter.
Cheers.
What a great update for such a timeless place.
Absolutely. The Algonquin has always been part of the story of St. Andrews, and it's exciting to see it evolve.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining us today.
Good day from the Bay.
Good Day from the Bay is produced through the facilities of CHCO Television with support from people in our region.